and for $1.
For $1, yeah.
Tell that story.
Pretty interesting story. So I actually get a call from Donnie Meehan on draft day. He was excited that I was going to get an opportunity. I was actually absolutely through Detroit Red Wings. I mean, original six, unbelievable. To be able to get an opportunity there. But I kind of looked at their centerman at the time. They had Stevie Y, they had Sergei. They just drafted Keith Primeau. They had Mike Sillinger, and then myself. I'm kind of this doesn't look good. This is a great opportunity, to go to another organization. But I mean, these guys are absolutely stacked down the middle. But I ended up. It was probably the best summer I ever had training. My trainers, who I'm still really good friends with, John and Peter Renzetti. I just basically, on that day on draft day, I said, listen, I don't know, what I need to do. I know I have to be, the best conditioned athlete that there is going in, to training camp with the Detroit Red Wings. That's the only thing I could control. And I just kind of said, like, I want to go in, I want to make a statement and everything that they have to do. And I had an incredible summer training. I went into training camp. They had the fitness testing that was going on. They had the Wingate 1.5 mile run, max VO2, bench pull-ups, all that kind of stuff that we had to do. And I was basically in the top 5 of every category. And I remember sitting there, we were at the Renaissance Hotel in Dearborn, Michigan. And when they were naming off, the top 3 guys in every category, my name was actually kind of coming up in all of them. I'm kind of like sitting there thinking, I'm obviously real proud of myself. Thinking that I'm going to get, a real good opportunity here. And I didn't get one exhibition game, and it was actually, it was obviously, pretty disappointing. But I remember going down to Adirondack, which is Glens Falls, New York. And I just said, you know what, like it's a new start. I had a relationship with the coach already, Newell Brown. Newell actually tried to recruit me when I was in Don Mills to go to Michigan State. So we had a little bit of a relationship, and I remember going down there. He actually told me, he said, take 3 or 4 or 5 days, whatever, to come down. And I just wanted to get down there. I just wanted to start. I showed up the next day and I said, I just want to go. I just want to play hockey. I know I'm better than what's gone on the last couple of years. And he just told me, he said, I want to find the Kris Draper that I recruited when I was 16 years old, and just really hit it off. And so I actually had a real good start to the season down in Adirondack. And I ended up getting called up January 24th, 1994. And then went on and I ended up, playing from that moment on every game. I wasn't a healthy scratch, played every game from there on in and into the playoffs. And we're playing San Jose Sharks. We're a heavily favorite. And I remember back then the series actually went 2 in Detroit, 3 in San Jose, 2 in Detroit. We went 2-3-2. And I think it was game 5. I ended up scoring 2 goals, and I was actually first star of the game. And the next day, I'm doing an interview with some of the Detroit media. And I remember doing the interview, and one guy stuck around for a couple more questions, and he just kind of ended the interview. He goes, not bad for a kid traded for $1. And I just kind of, laughed, and that I was just like, hold on, what did he just say? And so I actually kind of was like, excuse me, sir, you kind of said something about, $1. I don't understand what you mean by that. And he goes, you don't know? And I said, I don't know what. And he goes, you were traded for $1. And I was just kind of like, wow, okay, that's kind of a kick to the ego right there. And so I actually went to our PR guy, Howard was his name. And I came up to, I was like, Howard, I was like, this guy was just telling me I was traded for $1. Like, is this like, an inside joke or something? And he goes, no, he goes, Kris, you were actually traded for $1. And that's how I found out, doing an interview during the NHL Stanley Cup playoffs.
That's awesome.
Because I believe it was traded originally for future considerations. And then once I heard the story, I had to dig into it, and I had to really go look for this note. But you were traded for future considerations, and then I guess the league said you weren't able to be traded for nothing, so they had to make it a $1 bet.
I think back then, there was maybe 14 or 15 rounds in the draft, and Brian Murray actually offered up like a 15th round pick. And Mike Smith just kind of said, you know what, just give me $1. We'll make it a financial transaction and we'll call it, we'll call it a trade. And that's actually how it happened. So an interesting story on that. So in 97, after we won the cup, we had, it was basically a fan appreciation day at Joe Louis Arena. We had no idea what was going on. And I remember peeking out, I walked out with Chris Osgood and I looked out, I go, there's 20,000 people in here. Like, what are we doing? And no one had told us anything that was going on. We were just in the dressing room, just enjoying, the Stanley Cup and the celebration and everything. And our, then they kind of said, well, we're going to bring everyone out on stage and everyone's just going to kind of thank the fans. And, so I'm kind of like, we're all trying to think, okay, what are we going to say? No one's prepared for this. And I went after Kevin Hodgson, who was one of the funniest guys that I played with in my entire career. And he had the whole rink laughing and I have to go next. I'm like, what, how am I going to kind of top this? So I sit beside Darren McCarty and I had no money. I go, Mac, do you have $1? And he pulls out a $1 bill and he goes, here you go, and stuff. So anyway, so I came up, started thanking the Illiches and, kind of talking about, the run that we went on. And I actually went to Mr. and Mrs. Illich and I said, I know, back in 1993, you made a massive financial commitment to trade for me. And I just want to pay you back that $1. And I gave Mr. Illich the $1 and I told him now we're even. So I paid him back for that trade.
That's awesome.
I had that coming up way down the list here, that you actually paid him back on the night of the fan appreciation night.
I love it.
Wait, do you have to think the Winnipeg Phoenix franchise is cursed now because of that trade? Kris Draper.
Winnipeg's doing okay right now. Let's be honest.
Different franchise though.
It's like I said, it was obviously I've been in the game, for a long time now, 10, 11 years retired and in the front office. And now you really see how things work. And, for me, it was, and I said this earlier, they looked at me and didn't think that, I was going to fit into their plans. And like I said, I can't thank them enough. They gave me a tremendous opportunity. I ended up going to Detroit. Obviously, it was a little disappointing of how it started, but then, the opportunity that I got, with the Detroit Red Wings and ended up, playing, over 1,000 games for the Detroit Red Wings. And it's something that, I'm real proud of and then, elite company with the other players, that have been able to play over 1,000 games with the Red Wings. So, it was, just you say thank you, like that's really what it is. And, I was able to make the most of that trade and that situation and had an unbelievable time being a Detroit Red Wings, something that, I was, so proud of as a hockey player. Every time I put that, winged wheel jersey on, so proud, never ever took it for granted. Playing in the National Hockey League, playing for such a great franchise. And now to be able to work, in the front office at the, with Ken Holland at the time, and now with Steve Yzerman is, something obviously I'm, real proud to be able to do.
If you could sit down for dinner with anybody dead or alive, who would it be?
I've been lucky. I met Michael Jordan with Chris Chelios at Chris Chelios Hall of Fame induction. MJ was there. He's somebody, for, the Bulls were obviously, winning championships when we were winning championships. So it was pretty cool, to see, to be able to do that. So I'd probably say for an athlete, he would be, just to be able to sit down with Michael Jordan, especially watching The Last Dance, last year. That I thought that was an incredible documentary. My son and I, Keenan, who obviously had on the show during the pandemic, we were dialed into that. I love watching greatness. That's something that is real special. But probably for an athlete wise, it would be Michael Jordan. And then I would say maybe for a person, it would be John F. Kennedy. Pretty intrigued about how all that went down, the assassination, Oswald, the whole deal. So I would say that those would probably be the two that be interesting to have dinner with.
Okay,
those are great choices.
Yeah, and I always go with comedian like Seth Rogen would be awesome. I would think.
Yeah,
I think it'd be pretty fun to sit down with him.
Yeah,
And I always go with,
there's so many guys that you can think of, to be able to do that. Been fortunate, I played, with the Olympics and at the World Cup with Wayne Gretzky, and he was obviously the general manager. And, to be able to, be around him, I was able to play with Mario Lemieux. I mean, Joe Sakic, these guys, so fortunate to be able to play with all those guys. Tiger Woods, would be somebody, being a big golfer, with obviously what, Tiger Woods did, and just, like his mental toughness, during, the years when he was really dominating was something that, you're just in awe of. It's something that's real cool. So, guys like that.